Hey everyone, it's Chris again, and welcome to video number 2, which is going to go over protection. Once again, all the items I go over in this video are going to be listed down below with the timeline that I talk about them, so you can skip to what's most relevant to you if you don't want to watch the entire video. Those who do watch the entire video, hey, I appreciate it. That being said, let's get into what I've put on for protection. So the first thing I did was an engine protection kit. This is another one of those items I had on order before the bike arrived. So to my understanding, they're essentially fiberglass and should protect your engine casing. I can't say that I've used it. So I installed them the day after I got the motorcycle. It's really easy to install. You're just taking some of the bolts off from the casing, putting the engine protection kit there, and then bolting them back in. So no problems with the install, it's really easy, but I haven't crashed on them, and so I don't know they do their job very well. I wasn't originally going to get engine dresser bars, which is why I got the engine protection kit, but I did get the dresser bars, so now it's probably a bit redundant. I probably should take them off. You know, maybe I will. I figured the extra protection probably doesn't hurt, but it honestly is probably redundant and not doing anything. I did drop the bike once going down a gravel hill, and I just was being a wuss because it was, you know, my first time, and went too slow into a rut and just tipped the bike over and laid it down. So that didn't do anything. And then I did crash one time going maybe 20-25 miles per hour after I've been sliding my back end around, getting kind of good at it. And then I did it with way too much mud on my tires for those Metzer Torrances. And unfortunately I ate it real hard, and I wound up fracturing my shoulder. But again, the engine dresser bars were there, so the engine protection kit wasn't used. So for me, it's probably useless. I really should probably take it off. If you don't do engine dresser bars, might not be a bad idea. Off-road's a different story, and if you're going off-road, you should probably get engine dresser bars, which brings me to the next one, engine dresser bars. So originally I didn't want to do these because I think a lot of motorcycles look terrible with their engine dresser bars. But I was happy that once I installed the bars, that they actually look really good on the Street Scrambler. They give it kind of a little more rugged look, and they don't stick out so far that it's an eyesore. So yeah, they're not bad at all. I actually was very pleasantly surprised. The other thing is, I realized that I have zero off-road skills. I didn't grow up riding dirt bikes. I really need to get a dirt bike to start learning off-road. So my first experiences going off-road is with this 500-pound brand new motorcycle. So it occurred to me, get the dresser bars. I'm glad I did. I did, as I was just saying, I did eat it. Going about 25 miles per hour, low-sided real hard, fractured my shoulder, I slightly bent the shift lever, I mainly messed up my front end alignment and twisted my handlebars back into my tank, which is where I had that beautiful dent from. But everything else was fine. I think the engine dresser bars maybe saved my lever from getting more messed up. I know on some of the older Scramblers that if you dropped it on that side, you'd mess up your gearbox, and I had no problems. So, and the engine dresser bars were great. No issues, they weren't bent, no problems hitting the ground that hard. And like I said, they look great. And you know what I need to do? I need to get like the highway foot pegs for them that you can attach to them. That way when I'm going across country, I can stretch my legs out a little bit. Install was not difficult. I had one bolt that my weight wasn't enough to crack it loose. So I had to go to the dealer for something, and I just asked them if they could crack that one bolt slightly loose, and then install was not a problem at all. It might have taken 15 minutes or so. You do have to remove the left side header pipe, but that's really easy. Yeah, and then you just bolt it on, right? You gotta love motorcycles. Like, if you like Legos and you like motorcycles, it's just perfect. But yeah, I would highly recommend those engine dresser bars if you're going to take it off-road. I don't know if anyone makes anything else. So that's Triumph OEM engine dresser bars. And I don't know if anyone makes anything else. I did see one company, and I don't remember who, that makes other bars, but they're higher up, similar to the ones that are available for the Street Twin, which is not my cup of tea. So, but hey, maybe by the time you're watching this and you're considering accessories for your Street Scrambler, maybe there's a lot more options available. Every day there seems to be more, so that's good. Headlight grill. So, you know, it's funny. The headlight grill is another thing I had in order before the bike even arrived. Now every time I see like a Triumph that doesn't have a headlight grill, it looks wrong to me. Even the ones you wouldn't consider getting a headlight grill, I'm like, man, it should have a headlight grill. So it's really funny. It's a styling thing. It just looks so much better. It looks nice. Functionality wise, the Triumph one is like a flexible plastic. So I think the idea is it's going to deflect things. I don't know how much stuff is actually going to be hitting it. I think if you went into anything at a high enough speed, it's not going to do much for you. Or somebody comes out with a bat, I can't say I know for sure though, because I haven't tested it and I'm not going to. But the nice thing about the Triumph one is you replace your bezel, and then it's just 2 screws and a tab to take it off. So if you want to take it off and not have it on for a while, that's fine. Or if you want to take it off for cleaning, you can. I've taken it off maybe twice. One time I wanted to use like a Windex style wipe to really clean the headlight after I had washed it, and 2 screws and voila, done. So that's nice. Install is not hard, but for me it was a little bit pain in the butt because the bezel was slightly smaller than the original bezel, and I really had to force the headlight in there and get it to expand a little bit, and I was a little worried that I was going to break the headlight if I pushed too hard, but the headlight was fine, and I just had to push harder than I wanted to, and voila. And then once you get the bezel on, everything's cake. So Tony from the Man Cave has a great video where he does the installation on a Street Twin, and so I had watched that previously to doing it, and I would recommend you do the same if you're going with the Triumph one. There are other options out there now, and I believe they're metal, but I don't know, I think the Triumph one actually looks best in my opinion. But that's the great thing, is everything's subjective, and what you like might be completely different. So, Tiger handguards. Now, when I say protection for this one, I mean wind protection. They are plastic. Other than maybe hitting some branches if you're going through the woods, they're not going to do a whole lot of protection for your hands. If you actually crash with them on, they're not going to protect your levers. They're just plastic. But for me, I got them to block the wind. It was wintertime, and I was riding across country, and it was freezing. It was like low 30s, low 40s, and freezing out. Half an hour into that on the highway with my winter gloves, my hands were cold. So I added the hand guards, and they helped greatly. Actually, when I was coming back from Arizona, I went through Texas, and it was 41 degrees and a light rain, and honestly, my hands were fine, and that was, I think, highly because of the hand guards. My helmet froze, so that was a problem. I had to pull over and defrost my helmet, but my hands were fine. So I bought the hand guards specifically for wind protection, and they do the job. They keep your hands a little warmer because you're not getting as much cold wind blasting on them. They're not a huge difference, but it's a difference. And by the way, this is the hand guard for the Tiger 800 XR. So there was $98. As always, Triumph's website, it's not the best, but I had gotten the part number from the configurator, and then I ordered it from a dealer in Arizona. Installation was great because it didn't require any modification. It was a simple bolt-on. So you add a bracket for each side, and then you just bolt on the actual handguard to the bar end of your the end of your handlebars and those brackets that you installed. So installation took like 5-10 minutes, maybe a little bit more, but it was easy. It was a bolt-on job, so no problem there. I did switch to my stock mirrors, but you could use the bar end mirrors with, you could at least use the Triumph OEM bar end mirrors with the handguards. I just didn't want the bar end sticking straight up, and that's pretty much what you have to do. And I felt like putting the stocks on. I had the stock mirrors on for one day before I changed them. So it was time to go back and remember what they were like. Look-wise, at first I didn't like it so much. I really just did it for a functionality purpose. It does bring more of an adventure look to your Scrambler. So if you're not into adventure bikes, you might not like it. If you are into adventure bikes, you might like it and might want to keep it. I do like the naked look of the bike as it was stock. It's one of those things where it's grown on me though. So, I was planning on taking it off as it's gotten warmer, but I might leave it on because it does look pretty cool, but We'll see. Dart Flyscreen. So this is another one for wind protection. Now, first off, the Dart was a good option for me because I thought about doing the Triumph Flyscreen in the matte khaki green to match because, matching again. But you have to buy the mounting hardware separate. And I didn't feel like spending $200 when I think the Dart Flyscreen was like $125. So I went with the Dart, and it looks cooler than again. I kind of like the more naked bike, but it looks cooler than I imagined. I might leave it on, or at least I'll keep at least I'll put it on for highway trips and long distance rides and the winter. So where you kind of benefit from using the Flyscreen is that if it's cold out, you're getting less wind blast on your chest. So that's going to help you because less cold air on your chest means you're going to last a little bit longer riding in the cold, right? But what's most noticeable by taking the air off your chest is my arms and hands would become fatigued a lot faster without the Flyscreen because the air is pushing me back, and so I'm using more of my arm muscles to keep me forward, and I'm also getting a tighter grip on the handlebars. That's one thing that having the Flyscreen on helped me in, is I could have a more relaxed grip, and I didn't notice it as bad. So that was nice. Yeah, my first few trips, I did long periods on the highway. Yeah, I would feel it, mainly my hands more than my arms, but I would feel like I would be white knuckling, kind of holding myself from the wind. And adding the Flyscreen did help. I mean, it didn't take off the wind blast from my helmet. I'm 5'11", so and I went with the classic Flyscreen. I didn't want to go with the bigger one, but it still does its job. Still made my life easier traveling down the highway, so I have no complaints. Installation was really easy. It took like 10 minutes maybe. So no problems installing that. Evotech Rectifier guard. So all this is a little metal guard that goes over your rectifier, and I can't say I actually would need it necessarily, but I didn't quite like the look of the rectifier, so I did this more for styling. I really should put it in styling for myself at least. I do like having the guard. I think it looks nice. I don't know the chances of objects hitting that and actually causing any damage. So it's probably really not needed, but like I said, I like the look of it. Installation was easy because all you're doing is, I think, unscrewing something and then putting the guard over it and then putting the screws back in. So installation took a minute and was completely easy. Like I said, this is probably more styling than it is actual protection because I don't know the chances of something hitting that are. But hey, maybe it would happen, and I'll be happy that I had that there. So some things I might do protection-wise that I might still add is I thought about getting a radiator guard, but I took the radiator guard off the other day, and I don't know, I think it might be okay. It's kind of, they went for the flexible plastic. Same thing with the sump guard. It's plastic, and it's a flexible plastic, and I think it's designed to deflect things more than take a hit. So, and I know a lot of KTMs now are coming with plastic sump guards, and I think the idea is, again, your rocks are coming up and hitting it, and they'll just kind of bounce off of it. But that being said, if you bottom out, if I do a river crossing and bottom out on a rock, that thing's gonna be smashed. The thing is, I really like the way the stock one looks. So do I spend the money to have something made up to fit that mold, but be aluminum? Or do I go with something else that's currently existing? They have some third-party stuff. You have the Triumph one for like the Street Twin T100, which is actually nice because it's longer, but it doesn't come up very far, and I don't know, it looks like a little bit of a ski to me on the bottom of your bike. So we'll see what I do in that regard. Part of me wants to just rock the stock skid plate until I break it, and then replace it. On the Street Twin, you have a catalytic converter down there, but there's just an empty hole on the Street Scrambler. So part of the reason I don't like a lot of them is they're just covering the front, and then you can see the big hole, and I don't know, it looks weird to me. But the actual design of the sump guard that came with it looks great. I just wish I had a little more confidence in it. Thanks for watching the second video. Stay tuned for the third video, which is going to go over luggage and styling.